Yes, thank you very much, Sam, Tom, and Toby. Here we find ourselves on day number 2, match number 6 of this best of 20 series. And back to Miramar we go, Cameron.
Back to Miramar, and a good plane path to start everything out once again. I know it's a bit tiring to talk about the plane path every single game, but we've seen it affect things rarely, but it does affect it. There was a game on Erangel yesterday that had forced a team to hot drop directly on another one, and so it is something to look at, but I am especially excited to see always where the first circle is, how that's going to affect rotations, and get the game really started rolling.
So you want to see that? I want to see what these teams went back to their hotel rooms last night, what they reviewed on the VODs, and how they're going to be making adjustments off of that. We didn't see too much contest, at least in the early stages, the loot phases, but really the rotations is where we started to see a bit of chaos erupt, especially here on Miramar.
So the one thing I am noticing about these drops is that Reciprocity, they are completely ignoring Cruz Duval, going to Monte Nuevo. That basically confirms that they were only going to cruise the first 2 games yesterday because of the plane path.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Reciprocity kind of throughout the entirety of the first day showed us that they're very much willing to adapt back to the contenders drop locations that they weren't necessarily facing off with in PEL Phase number 2. This just shows how strong of a squad, at least they are, both individually and as a team. Going to be going to that Monte Nuevo spot again in PEL Phase 2 that was dominantly held by FaZe Clan. This time it'll be wide open, but Phase 1, it's going to be a Vitality circle over, centered on top of Minas Generales.
Yeah, actually, Vitality, this isn't the first time we've seen this circle. I don't remember if it was the game that they won, however.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was or not yesterday, but we have definitely seen the first phase centered on them already here in the first day of play. But now that we break into the second day of play, the questions really become, Cameron, will Vitality be able to hold on to the center spot?
I mean, that's a big question. So the last time we saw this circle with Vitality smack dab in the center, it did move off of them. We did see multiple hard shifts in multiple directions, and so they actually got taken out of a power point in the center quite early on, surprisingly for them being so center in that circle. But also, just throughout the day of Vitality in general, they started off on a really strong point. They won the very first game, and then slowly slipped their lead all the way down in 6 right now. And so the question is, are they going to start up strong once again, or are they just going to continue that trend? But this is a good position to really get that momentum started rolling again.
It's flipped that on its head. A bad position, at least for one of the members of No Tag Team. Eros, who was a severe impact player for this squad in yesterday's matches, is going to be caught all alone by the members of 7. They haven't spotted him out just yet, but they will be clearing out this compound, and Edelweiss certainly looking that direction. Eros is not going to want to take this at all. He's going to have to concede this vehicle, but hopefully not concede his life here as Francario pops into the Bronco. Might be able to get some shots out here. The M416 prepped and ready, but I think Eros' game plan is just going to let 7 disengage and continue on as a 4-stack.
I don't know if 7 fully know that he's here or not. It's
they wouldn't be running out there in the middle. I mean, let's be real, right?
The shots are coming in from another teammate. I believe it's Give It down to the south, and there's a Jupazik up on the cliff side as well. So there's actually a lot of pressure from the teammates to allow Eros to get out of there. And so if 7 were searching for Eros, the pressure was on them to allow Give It to come in with the bike and pick up the teammate. But they may actually be stopping and trying to take this fight because they are on the edge of the circle. They could put even more pressure on 7, force them way away from the circle, force them to take a completely different entrance, and deal some pretty significant damage.
Yeah, this was a very good rotation to come and give support over to Eros. Give It, though, recognizes that neither of these teams really want to take this early game fight for a positioning on the edge of phase number 1. And in this disengage, Eros going to be dropped down to about 1 HP on the back of the 2-seater motorcycle. Will be able to at least disengage to the elongated building. Oh, shots continue to come out. One tag will do it, but they're not going to be able to find it just yet. As we switch over to El Pozo, Tornado Energy going to be calling this their home.
Yeah, pretty straightforward loot for these guys. They got Zen over on their west side, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. The rotation path for them looking on the map shouldn't be that difficult either. So ultimately, outside of that engagement between No Tag and 7, this is looking to be a pretty unconsequential early game.
4 minutes and 30 seconds into match number 6 of this best of 20. And Desperados, as well as multiple other teams, are starting to make those slow but sure adjustments, trying to find a better position inside of Phase 1. You saw Desperados rolling up to the hillside where Vitality was holding on to in Minas. However, Unity Orange Snow has been spotted out. The members of Ferrari Breach, Oko and Rezu, will be putting out a few pressure shots, scouting out these compounds, seeing if they have any way to maneuver, but the shots come back out. Orange Snow able to find a connection, and there are two members of Unity dangerously close to Ferrari Breach.
Yeah, Ferrari Breach saw the player off in the distance, but they don't know those two players, Recurrent and Blaston, who are actually pushing up that hill. Good timing for FBI to be retreating when they are. Definitely a lucky chance for them. I don't know if they moved purposefully, but a lot of shots and actually driving directly into Blaston.
Executing one of those Ferrari Breaches right now, will be able to find it. Ferrari Breach really staying true to their namesake. Also, Nemerith, the PG-18, will be going down and out as well. But in this position, Cameron, that we saw Unity in, we saw that at least two players were dangerously close to Ferrari Breach. However, they were incredibly spread out and won't be able to at least provide themselves with that support. Nade comes in by Oko and finds its fatal connection onto Edgecause. That's going to be a team kill right there, a misplay.
Yeah, was that supposed to be a smoke or a missed grenade? Whatever.
It definitely wasn't supposed to be a team kill, and that's something that Ferrari Breach is going to be feeling as they try to make their way through the rest of this game. Again, only at the 6-minute mark.
Unity could still try and answer back onto that. But over here, Tornado Energy, they're moving in as a pack. Actually had a really easy transition coming in from the west side. They have a high ground position as well. They're not close to the center of the circle, but coming from El Pozo, they didn't have priority on the center. And so this is actually a nice place for them to set up shop, get a lot of information towards the center, and move where the next circle goes.
Vitality going to be spotting out Desperados as well as a few other squads off in the distance, trying to find the tags. As Krema feels some pressure from the backside. Quickmath and Zelenzo going to be putting some shots up here, where Tornado Energy is now trying to take a high ground position on the hill. They will be seeing at least a few other teams off in the distance. If they take those scouts, as you start to at least see Quickmath making a full caravan rotation, trying to at least ride the hillside, avoid the lines of sight, but Northern Lights are not going to be able to do so as Vitality's Nasus Please comes in with a nice knock. Looking for more as the smoke has been deployed. Spray into the smoke where there's likely going to be players, and you could find yourselves even more kills.
Yeah, trying to pick that one up, but Northern Lights, they're in a bad position on the leaderboard, and they're in a bad position in this circle. Vitality using their center position as well as the high ground that Minas Generales lends them to get a lot of pressure and a lot of control. Already got a couple of kills for them. Nace is trying to get even more, but Quickmath falling away from Tornado Energy, maybe getting dangerously close to Desperados.
This game has almost been a story, at least in the early game, of team mistakes, and they continue to come out here as Northern Lights is trying to at least recover off of this mistake, where another team, no tag team, looks to capitalize on top of Quizzy, who did suffer a vehicular mishap. Will have the defilade, will have a bit of a hillside to block those lines of sight and now move on, but the question becomes, in terms of attrition, will this come back to bite them later in the game?
It absolutely will. They're taking a lot of damage early on. The first circle hasn't even closed yet. I'm surprised that they still have 4 up with the pressure that Vitality were putting on them, but we'll see if they're able to solidify it somehow, because those two players from No Tag really looked like they wanted to push up that hill. But you can see the distance between them was way too long. Shadowed, trying to overwatch and spot over the northern side, and he's actually getting answered back a bit by Riddle.
That warehouse location just to the southeast of San Martin will definitely be held down by Shadow as Vitality continues to try to hold on to the centralized position of the circle. Vitality is incredibly spread out. They're trying to hold to these angles. They're trying to do a 360 defend of this centralized position, and the question becomes, will they be too spread thin to effectively combat against a team Crash? But we pop over to GamerLegion. Previously, the Luke Goblins from last year's PUBG competition, if you knew that squad, now under a rebranding after the Minsk tournament. Reciprocity also making the rotation. Reciprocity coming off of that Western El Pozo location, Cameron, they are a big fan of driving as far south as possible and then making that northern rotation into the southern part of phase number 1.
I mean, it was a good call. They're going through Los Leones, and it's absolutely empty. I don't think we saw a single person loot that area. You can see the space around them on that map. But let's see where the next circle goes is going to force where that decision is. And this is going to center up. So actually, this time around, it is working out for Vitality. You questioned them being so spread out. In the previous 30 seconds, they actually already collapse into each other just a little bit in preparation for the next circle shrink. And so that's going to give them the opportunity to get an even tighter formation, getting ready for all these teams to get closer and tighter towards the center as what happens when the game moves on.
Yeah, very good awareness for Vitality to be able to do that. That's kind of one of the things that you look for in teams looking to compete in the PEL. Vitality obviously facing off against relegation out of the PEL. Well, they are certainly showing why they are a team to contest the top of the leaderboard. Shots coming out, though. No tag team going to be finding one on to Riddle Esports. O'Connell going to find some nice AKM spray, but will immediately be traded back out by Hjort with the M416. Flush goes down, and no tag team will continue on with 3 alive.
Did Riddle push up into No Tag?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm looking on the mini map, and I know where Riddle were. So they moved away from center. I may be mistracking where all the teams are, but either way, these teams crash into each other, as is what happens. And speaking of crashes,
big one coming in. Unity, they've already been crashed on. You saw a vehicle from the from the members of Ferrari Breach run over Blaston, but they are able to keep 3 alive. Rick Rent, one of the players for Unity, who sticks out of my mind, Cameron, after those dominant bolt-action sniper shots yesterday.
Maxazor.
Northern Lights going to be pushing up. AVANGAR trying to have a much better game today, but will they be able to find that here with Northern Lights? Able to find the first shots of this engagement. Grenade going to be underhand tossed over the hillside. Will likely find pay dirt right next to Maxazor's bodies. It's going to be the shots coming out from OK Bros M416 that find the knock in the flesh. Grenade going to be of no consequence, at least right there.
Trying to get some more shots, not landing a single one on the retreating bicycle. AVANGAR in a really rough spot just in this entire event. They ended PEL and looking rough, and so they want to try and get points out of this game as well as they can, and so they're not going to take this fight because they lost priority once they lost the player. They also had no clue where Northern Lights' positioning setup is, and so they'd be going into that fight blind if they wanted to commit to it.
While we pop back over to this GamerLegion, Unity, and Ferrari Breachers, triangular engagement is exactly what we're seeing right now. Shots from all 3 compounds, from all 3 teams. A few connections coming out from GamerLegion onto Ferrari Breach as we see Quickmath rotating off in the distance to the west, trying to find a location to call home. Reciprocity has done that here, though, just south of that La Bendita crater.
Yeah, that crater is actually it's just south of Minas Generalis, and if that stays near the center of the circle for much longer, it actually could play a big part in how rotations play, how movement plays, because of how impactful the crater itself is. The fight between Riddle and No Tag is still really going off.
Vitality continues to capitalize, though, from that hillside. Enzalenzo of Quickmath going to be tagged down by Krema's SLR and finished off with the Mini 14 of Shadow as they continue to pound shots down onto the members of Quickmath from that high ground warehouse location inside of Minas, where the Vitality squad has hung out for the better part of about 12 minutes since the game even started. Vehicles going to be disabled as Vitality presents several different angles onto this Quickmath squad.
Trying to find some more shots. Quickmath in a really rough position themselves. Those buildings that they're hiding in are really difficult to hold because of the windows that they have. It's very limited. And so if you peek, Vitality are going to, have a good guess on which one's going to come from. The fewer options, the better your chances are holding an angle that someone's peeking in. And it's going to center up. It's a medium-ish shift to the northeast, but it's center enough that it's not going to affect too many teams. But look at how many these teams are now on the southwest edge around La Bendita, and there's a big open area in the center of this circle it's not a field per se, but it's not the same control that you can get on a hilltop.
Oh, yeah, players are definitely going to avoid that La Bendita crater, at least the inside of it, like it were an open field. Where you're going to see a few teams posture themselves, though, is on top of those hillsides around the crater. You can get beautiful lines of sight. As Riddle tries to make their way in off of the northern edge of the circle, will be almost there. Clip going to be pushing that Murado through as far as possible. Both of these Riddle Esports players facing off against a lot of early game conflict, both shots and then pressure from the blue zone, whittling away at their utility and meds so far. Phase 3 in full effect, though, and Reciprocity has departed out of the building, possibly looking to play a more pivotal role in this game.
Yeah, where are their vehicles? They're not using them right now. They don't want to give any sound information away while they scan around and really comb through their current area. And when you're on the edge like they are, any hard shift away from you is obviously really, really bad for you. And so controlling the space that you currently can will mean that you give more opportunities and more options when you do have to travel. 7 doing a travel of their own, coming in actually along the south, likely look to be a big wide wrap in on the western side.
Yeah, the question remains, if they don't do the wide wrap, they will likely go directly into either PG-18 Reciprocity or GamerLegion. PG-18 on your screen right now. Yannick and Diaz holding on strong here in this compound. They've got Nail Up as well, 3 alive for this squad. No real pressure on them to depart out of the southeastern location just yet as AVANGAR continues to set up near the Minas Generalis area. This is because of the centralized shifts that we've seen throughout the first 3 phases of this game. This is pretty much where teams have been trying to encroach on, but not too aggressively, not trying to overpush into the likes of Vitality or even Northern Lights.
Northern Lights trying to slowly crawl in from that high ground, go to the low ground, but Vitality's control around this area. You can sneak through areas where buildings are because it blocks lines of sight. but they're going to be forced into a corner. You're going to see that happening with Vitality, but Zen, they're trying to come in on their own corner of the circle, and they have a hill to play around. But I don't know if they're going to get a good line of sight onto FBI. You can actually see they're more focused on Northern Lights and Vitality in the distance, as well as a Unity in that little compound.
And we could have a breach coming here as 7 starts to position on the southern side of PG-18. Cameron, we saw that 7 rotation. We hoped that they would rotate all the way over to the eastern side, but no, up to the north they went, directly into the 3 members of this PG-18 squad. Nail'Up, Yannick, and Diaz again. They know that there was a squad pushing up. The shots have come out. Francario is going to be the recipient of some damage. So is Edelweiss. So they are trying to get a different reset on this, trying to be an unknown. As a third-party engagement pops off near Minas, here's going to be Kravik coming in to support his other 3 teammates of 7. A 4v3 now. As 7 pulls in, and they're able to find the entry frag. Nail'Up's going to be going down. Yannick finds the reversal, though, with that beautiful flank onto Francario. Another goes down. Buster, that's 2 down for 7. It's a 2v3 scenario, but Nail'Up is going to be dropped down, traded out as well. 2v2 as it stands. Edelweiss going to be back on his feet as he tries to at least recover off of this. Angle is going to be presented from this PG-18 compound, but the push coming in from the south. Edelweiss and Kravik looking for gold as they try to at least flush through this building, looking for the remaining members of PG-18.
Diaz. Oh, I don't know. I didn't see where that one came from. Crab getting a nice knock onto him. That means it's just Yannick left in a 1v2. If he can ace 7, he'll be able to keep this spot, but not really for a team because he is now the only one left as everyone else got finished off. The smoke is blocking the angles.
Going to be okay for now, but certainly not in a position he wants to be in. With still 16 teams alive, 53 players, just past the 15-minute mark of this game. AVANGAR continues to light up the kill feed, possibly having a bit of a better game here in match number 6 of the promos. But Yannick still holds on. AKM going to be prepped and ready to spray onto the head of Kravik should he be presented with the opportunity. But as for right now, Buster going to be retreated back to. Edelweiss will pick up the res, a 3v1 as it stands, 7 holding the advantage.
So we haven't been given an opportunity to look at the circle just yet, but it actually pretty hard shifted down to the southeast, which makes this fight really impactful because if 7 can win this, they can rush to an open compound.
Yeah, and there aren't that many of them, so they need to do something quick here, possibly even disengage if they find themselves waiting too long to find that kill onto Yannick. But Yannick's not going to be moving. He's holding that angle as hard as possible as we pop over to the northwestern side of the previous circle. Blue zone working its way in, and Zoekt and Naam is going to be under pressure as the shots come out onto Vascu's Bronco. It's going to be Quickmath trying to find some gold here as Vascu gets dropped down to about 70 HP. Smoke's going to be coming out. His Bronco definitely going to be pretty much disabled at this point in time. He's got to rotate over to the Murado and the buggy of his teammates to essentially get out of here. The blue zone continues to work its way in, and they don't even have a position inside of the circle secured yet.
Okay, Yannick in the meantime has actually snuck up, rotating all around 7. I don't know if 7 are going to be aware of this, and actually 7 are really distracted by GamerLegion. This is giving Yannick an opportunity. He gets the first spray.
Finds one, looking for Buster. Will he be able to find it? No, so he now goes back into the reset position. Let them push into you. He knows that they are a little bit on their back foot as the pressure comes in, like you said, from AVANGAR to the northeast. Yannick continues to shift around. He's playing this perfectly, just like a solo player should in this type of engagement. From a 1v3 down to a 1v2, looking for Buster. Shots come out, not able to find the connections, but he's going to be connected on. One shot comes out, 20 HP, going to be missing.
Oh.
And unfortunately, that's all she wrote as Buster wraps around the flank for the blue zone and finds the remaining kill on PG-18. Out in 16th position they go.
Over here in Minas Generales, I believe that is. Actually, we're going back here. GamerLegion during that fight did push forward, try to take advantage of that. But Reciprocity, not far behind them, actually with a good high ground position, punished that push, and GamerLegion are now caught between 2 squads, trying to throw smokes out in the middle of a valley to continue their movement into, more comfortably into the circle.
Yeah, they're pretty much in that grenade valley that you brought up yesterday, Cameron, a place that you do not want to be here on Miramar, but a place that Vitality definitely wants to continue to remain. Almost 20 minutes of this game, they've held on to it. Zoekt and Naam is pushed in, though, and we'll be able to find a frag. Give it, going to be knocked down by Vascu's M416. Shift from Reciprocity, lighting up the kill feed. Vascu, the recipient of a lot of damage, is able to find the remaining kill onto Eris, and down goes no tag team in 15th place position. 14 remains as we breach into the mid-game.
A really rough rotation for Zen. When everyone tries to go in the same way, then, well, you're in a bit of a pickle, and now, again, as the only player remaining, he's going to have to go up against the entire 4 of Tornado Energy, likely. Reciprocity, though, they are just continuing to try and kill as many people as they can before they go into the circle. Crawling through La Bandita, they didn't commit onto the third party, onto GamerLegion, and now they've actually turned around and taken a big chunk out of Unity. Orange Snow bleeding out. I believe it is just Tizerin left.
And Tizeran's got that solo player position right behind the likes of Reciprocity. Might be trying to use them essentially as a body shield moving forward, but no, not use them at all. He's trying to find the kills. Tizeran trying to find one onto Shiv, but is going to be taking the lion's share of the damage, and ultimately will be finding their exit here in game number 6. Out in 14th place goes Unity, one of our PEL teams, finding another early exit here in this map.
Ooh, but here comes FBI. They're trying to third party this. Raffi does go down. The connections do finally land, but Scoom's ready to trade back, and actually Haxete's real close to push up onto them.
Only takes a quick peek from Haxete to be able to find one, but there's too much presence from the members of Ferrari Breach. But here comes the impactful third party from Quickmath. This could be what Reciprocity needs. Zoekt and Naam going to be eliminated right there by the members of Northern Lights. Vascu, the remaining member, will be spotted out. And in 13th place position they go. Washout, though, trying to do something as Oko goes out to Scoom, who dropped down to about 15% HP. A good battle raging on between Reciprocity and Ferrari Breach. Bit of a standstill right now, though, as Quickmath continues to push off of that northern flank.
It shows how limited the options are inside the circle when the fights on the edge just lead into more fights and more fights and more fights, because when there's nowhere left to play for, you kind of have to get your points now, and that's exactly what a lot of these teams are trying to do. In fact, GamerLegion are coming back on a Reciprocity from the back end.
Reciprocity put a little bit too much attention over towards Quickmath. They found the elimination, but they also found shots in the back as Tornado Energy goes out in 11th place. Top 10 at least secured here past the 21-minute mark of game number 6, and Riddle has been able to stay alive with 2 left after losing 2 early on here in this match. Zinsen and his teammate Hort going to be holding on to the eastern side, but Reciprocity getting absolutely pinched in between the blue zone and GamerLegion. They've got one down, but they're not going to be able to stay alive as Shiv gets dropped down and out. Reciprocity exiting this game in 10th place.
Yes, but they exit the game with, I believe I saw it was like 7 or 8 kills around that area, so very good count. But look at what GamerLegion are going to have to play for now. It's a wide open field with the 2 compounds already taken. You got 7. They were in a shack in a blown up vehicle. There's nowhere to play for now.
This has been an interesting engagement kind of going on since about the 5-minute mark of this game. Northern Lights moving into the eastern side of the Minas Generalis that now with this next circle shift is going to no longer be in play. Vitality quickly recognizing this will be throwing out smokes to block off the lines of sight from the building that Northern Lights currently hold on to. Northern Lights were able to get a knock onto one of the members of Vitality, and now Nasus Please returns the favor as Perfect gets dropped down and out with the M416 headshot. And when you got to make that rotation, that's not when you want these frags to be happening for your team. Grenade pressure going to be applied as well. Some of the members of Vitality starting to make that departure as Nasus holds on to the Overwatch position, keeping Northern Lights at bay.
AVANGAR, 3. Only 3 people alive, only 2 kills. And they're trying to get these kills on these open players before they're forced into the circle with the shift over towards the west side. It's a big wide open field that they're playing for now. Riddle, though, they don't want any part of this and they're backing off.
Nasus going to be continuing to pound down grenades onto the location of Northern Lights. It looks like Quizzy has been able to disengage off the eastern side, but the blue zone of phase number 6 is moving in, and this is not the stage in the game where you want to be taking that blue zone damage. Out goes Riddle Esports as they do get spotted out by AVANGAR. AVANGAR starting to light up the kill feed even more now as Inuctive finds the SLR shots onto Desperados, but Vitality going to be holding onto this position. They don't want to give anything free to the members of Northern Lights, and Kramer's been able to advance himself. He's in a powerful position to catch the members of Northern Lights if they're able to even evade Shadow 1K.
Ooh, nades coming in. Shadow's actually going to push past it to get closer to Northern Lights, using Northern Lights' own smokes to his advantage and try and get these kills now. They got Kramer on the flank once again as well, and they're just trying to stay in front of Northern Lights. Unfortunately, Nasus does go down, but oh, Shadow spots something, sprays through the smoke, gets a little bit of damage, but no full knock just yet, and a double peek out from Northern Lights is going to get a knock on him in return.
Now Kramer, that flank position player that tried to secure a position inside of the circle, or at least in advancement of the members of Northern Lights, will be facing off against Too Much, and out goes Team Vitality in 8th place position, at least able to secure placement points off of that. Top 7 now going to be secured as we continue on. 7 teams alive, 16 players. That's going to be a pretty drastic player per team average that they're working off of. Northern Lights not able to move any further. Deep, Quizzy, and the rest of the squad going to be obliterated through by both 7 and Desperados.
Look how the desperate positioning from all these teams that are actually still alive. 7, they have like a square inch for themselves to lie in, and if they move, they get dropped, just like Hamster did to Edelweiss.
Probably the best thing about this position is their vehicles are disabled. That's like the best possible, I guess, thing to take away from the positioning of 7 currently, is that they won't be facing off against explosive damage from that source. Coldamenta and Fake, though, going to be held down in a very difficult shack, very difficult position to at least move out of should the circle shift off of this northern position they're currently sitting in. That shift going to be coming out here in just about a few seconds' time, but AVANGAR is already going to be applying pressure, and sure enough, over towards the west we go. The Besiktas compound going to be fully in play, and you saw the interview with them at the start of the day with Mustache Dave. Besiktas is looking for that PEL spot, and they are certainly performing like they want to be there and like they need to be there.
Well, the circle's given them a lot of benefit in this game. I don't think we've tuned into them just yet. I don't know how many kills they have. It's likely that they actually don't have that many. I'm going to be picking up the majority of them these last few moments of the game, but only 14 alive. This may be a low points game as far as a winning team goes, but hey, a win's a win. When you're given an opportunity like the circle is given these guys now, you know, don't what is it? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
That's exactly what you say. And yet, you're not going to be moving away from it. Grenades come in. This is what Buster from 7 had to do with AVANGAR, pushing off of that eastern position that they were holding on to. Asvern going to be dropped down as well, as Cole Dementa with the Mini 14 headshot is able to find that connection, leaving just Denuctive, the solo player for this AVANGAR squad, who was looking for such a powerful performance in this game. They found some kills. They've at least found a 6th place guarantee, but now finding themselves desperately under pressure for the members of Desperado. Shots coming in. Vehicular explosion will be wiping out AVANGAR's dreams here in game number 1 of day 2. Out in 6 they go. 5 remain.
But look at this by Desperados. They stayed in their position to get the points that they could on AVANGAR, because now that they have to move out, they get torn apart in a matter of, what was that, 5 seconds?
Yeah, they knew that was coming after that shift.
Yeah.
But now Washout, look at this. Ferrari Breach are still hold on, hiding behind the Besiktas compound where a beautiful crate just happens
They get a
to
crate.
drop.
They had the circle 3 times, and now they get a crate.
Player Unknown's like, I don't think Besiktas has enough right now. Let's give them even more. GamerLegion trying to desperately work their way across a wide open area down to the south, not even inside of the circle yet, and will be deploying some smokes to try to at least push up as far as possible with that concealment. Hamster, the recipient of blue zone damage, as well as shots coming out from Edelweiss, who's able to find the flush. Kill point secured, 9 in total for 7, who's having a very good game so far.
They're going to have to move themselves, though. They want to get rid of GL. They can maybe find Washout to the north. Oh, Ultra finally gets a kill. That's actually the first kill for Besiktas, and I was really hoping for a 0-kill win.
Well, it's not going to happen here, Cameron,
No.
but it could have opened up an opportunity for 7 to advance themselves to that hill. But the all-important question is, will Besiktas absolutely let them do that?
No.
I don't think so. No, Blue Zone going to be taking down Edelweiss. He's not going to be able to pick up the kill point, though, for Lux, as Buster remains the solo player alive. Grenades going to start raining down on his location in this small little oasis.
Yeah, I believe it was Besiktas that we actually looked at yesterday, playing the final moments of a circle very, very well, sticking together as 4. And now that they are 100% secure that they have a man advantage in any engagement that they come across, as well as just the circle and they know where all the positions are, they're leaving the compound and they're going and hunting for those kills because they want at least a couple more. They only have 1 right now. They're going to end this with 3 kills total if Washout doesn't die to the blue. Buster going for 1! Can't get the finish. He does fall behind the defilade.
Snakes in the wheat, you gotta cut it down or at least pre-fire into those in these final moments of these PUBG competitive matches. Now Washout, Ferrari Breacher's solo player who sought safety behind this Besiktas squad, will now have to face off against the 4-stack, who is looking to take down the chicken dinner. But all things considered, if you're able to save your team's game and get a 2nd place secure, Washout has pretty much achieved his goal for this game.
He's going to be looking for a little more. He's going to see if he can't get another knock and a kill onto Besiktas. Just the fact that he's slow walking makes me think that he's not 100% certain that it is a full group of 4. There is always going to be that little bit of concern of, like, did another snake come into this compound? Checking the care package. It has been looted.
Definitely going to be picked up by Besiktas, which makes it even more difficult for Washout to try to find these frags. He's going to have to try to single out these players, but Besiktas continues to roll in a ball of death. They're going to go for a trade. Even if Washout is able to get the knock, the likelihood of him being able to find the flush is slim to none, but we'll see how he plays it out here. He does have the members of Besiktas all caught out in the wide open field. This is a bad position, at least facing off against a solo player, and Washout is recognizing that he could at least have an advantage from this line of sight if he's able to find a quick knock onto 2 of the members, Cameron. It immediately shifts over and pops in favor of Washout.
They saw him.
Oh, yeah, Molotov's coming in.
It's actually a nice molly, too.
Huge molly from downtown. Will be zoning off every type of exit for Washout, at least at the front of the building. He's able to find a few shots onto Simsy. It's not going to be enough. Return fire comes in. 25 damage being applied as grenades drop right at the feet of Washout. And a new big game coming in for Besiktas as they pull up that chicken dinner here in game number 6 of the Best of 20 series. Starting off the day with the interview and starting off the day with the chicken dinner is exactly what Tomlin was talking about.
Yeah, dude, 3-kill win. That's hype. No, I mean, no,
Cameron, okay.
No. I'm not taking anything away from them. Let's be real, it was an easy game for them.
Yes.
But they played it how you play those circles. They didn't get greedy, and they didn't actually try and reach for more than what they could safely give. So this isn't me criticizing them as a team. It's certainly nothing like the win that they had yesterday. And they even had other games that they didn't win that they still played like really, really well in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
tough.
Not really. It's just the excitement level after this game is a little meh. I want to see more. It's not exactly the best appetizer for a day of PUBG, but nonetheless, still really good job by Besiktas to get that win, get it solid lead.
Yeah.
They finished with all 4 alive. That certainly shows the level of team play that they have.
And also shows the safety of the compound that they pretty much had the entirety of that game. But again, Cameron, we talk about it. Compounds, you could be gifted them. You could be gifted circles. You still have to play off of it.
Yeah.
Granted, Besiktas weren't able to pick up kills from that compound.
Yeah.
They were definitely looked at by other teams that were possibly trying to crash.
I mean, and that's the trade-off, right? It was
Yeah.
an easy game for them, but they aren't going to get as many points. We've seen teams get close to 20, even over 20 points so far. They're going to get fewer than 15 points.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was an easy game, but they didn't get as many points from it, so...
Essentially around the point totals of where we saw second and third place teams from yesterday's games walking away with.
Yeah, exactly. But this was just a really rough circle to play around if you didn't have that compound, because you saw what happened to everyone else when they had to leave that compound. It was a wide open field, and they got torn apart by everyone else. I don't know exactly why Besiktas weren't able to pick any of those up until the end game.
Yeah, it might have been the positioning of the compound. I mean, they did have that hillside that kind of blocked off the western position where they really had no line of sight whatsoever, and that's where a majority of our teams were kind of rotating from over to the east. So that could have played into it a little bit, but a win's a win. A win is 10 points, and certainly points are key here in this point race of day number 2, where teams are still trying to really establish themselves on the leaderboards.
Yeah, but the reason why we saw a lot of action happen in the mid game of that, because everyone saw when they saw that circle go into the southeast, there was nowhere to play off of. But let's go have second interview of the day with the leading squad, Besiktas.